I've done it, ladies and gentlemen. On day 47, with no losses, I capture Eagles HQ to score my victory. There you have it. Rivals done deathless.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Oh boy. My friends, we are back on Rivals. You already know by now why this can be considered the most brutal mission of them all. Just unlocking it in the advanced campaign is already difficult enough, but you are basically fighting a buffed eagle in the worst conditions possible. And now you want to add the Deathless challenge on top of that? Even a masochist wouldn't want to get near that. But as you probably know by clicking on this video, is that someone was crazy enough to still try this and was able to do it, if it wasn't for one problematic detail. During his run, our protagonist, Mangs, came across a strange event. Snow appeared out of nowhere during day 3 when it's never supposed to happen.
And after about 30 attempts, something incredibly bizarre happens. Snow. It begins to snow on day 3.
While this was first brushed off as some new unknown bug, like a divine help to make possible the insanity that is Rivals done deathless, it quickly became clear to him that there might have been some tinkering to the area in memory responsible for weather. Obviously, this looks to be the most logical and plausible explanation, but we can only ever speculate, as there is always a non-zero chance that this was truly a glitch, and not an actual modification of the RAM or even some emulator inaccuracy. Or Olaf was just watching on the sidelines and wanted to help a fellow man of the snow, who knows. Regardless, since there are good arguments going for every possible explanation, and little way to truly prove or disprove anything for now, we are forced to dismiss this whole snow incident on the side and analyze Rivals in its regular glorious form instead. Something Mangs already looked into and said this about.
No matter what I do, I always seem to lose at least one unit, and Eagle's Lightning Strike hasn't even come in yet. I don't think there is a way to do this, guys. I'm sorry.
At least until he got snow to appear. He never really was able to test every single outcome because of that. But I can, and I did. So, today, we are going to answer the question, is Rivals Deathless truly impossible? Well, spoilers, after intensive testings, days and nights looking at every possible outcome, I can definitely say that, sadly, yes it is. Just Mangs being bad, of course. It's obviously possible, why would you be here? I'm just teasing you. And we won't waste any more time and jump right into how it's done. You probably guessed it, but the biggest hurdle for this challenge is both the early bombers and lightning strike. So I'm going to show you first how to consistently survive both, then quickly share what I actually accomplished. I will leave quick notes at the bottom of the screen, so pause if you want to read them for more details. This way you can have an easier time taking in the added info. Now, in his video, Mangs said this.
I try out alternate strategies, like saving up my funds and just deploying fighters, but this just makes Eagle's own fighters charge my base since they now got a target to attack, so that idea has to be scrapped as well.
Which means building air units is a no-go. Well, let's be a contrarian and just do the opposite by making an early T-copter. Then build some infantry to help form a wall of units around the HQ. With the occasional anti-air, while we keep our T-copter safe in the middle. And now, the fighters and copters are here, ready to help us block the path of the dangerous units, mainly the bombers. Mangs was so close to the solution, yet so far. Baiting the fighters really make this a walk in the park. Next is day 4, a crucial turn. This is actually where luck will have the biggest impact, and I'll show you how to deal with one of the worst case scenario, with the most different outcomes I could find, so you can easily adapt to most enemy units. From now on, we'll just stall as much as possible by building and joining units, while we try to injure every enemy unit around down to 3 HP. Why lowering them down to 3 HP specifically? Well, let's quickly explain what I call the AI's preservation mode. Basically, when an enemy unit is only facing units able to hit it back with retaliation damage, then this unit will remain on standby until something changes. All of this because the AI probe its suicides as much as possible. But this doesn't mean the AI can't sacrifice units ever. It's just quite rare and needs specific conditions. Now, this next turn is another crucial one. Even though we are not perfectly safe from Eagle's units yet, we are finally going to face his first lightning strike. We need to cut corners temporarily, so we can survive, and make up for it in the following turns. Still, as you probably saw by now, some units have been forced definitively in that standby state, and easily too, having pretty straightforward solutions to lower their HP down. It's the other units that are going to be slightly more tricky. The copters in particular are such a pain, as they are a lot more prone to RNG. When facing a stronger unit, they tend to change their actual objective and move away. And it's mostly random, so we have to act as if they will always flee. Speaking of copters, seeing the upper one and the tank at 1 HP is a perfect transition to another mechanic even Mangs is sometimes confused about. So, why some units don't go in repair mode when at 2 HP? Because in the code, units at 20 HP flat don't go in repair mode, only when at 19 HP and under, even though they look like having technically the same health in-game. That's also why I recommend lowering enemy units down to 3 HP and not 2 HP when trying the wall preservation mode exploit, because of repair mode being a thing. And while we are on that topic, did you know damage in the campaign mode is consistent, with luck always set at plus 5%, minus defensive terrain of course? Yes, this means you can easily follow everything shown here to deal with Eagle's units consistently. Speaking of which, we are finally reaching the point where you could just end your turn and stall Eagle for a while, though some of his air units will move at some point to refuel themselves, so you will need to be careful about that still. But with him being quite close to having his power, let's injure everything we can and deal with it right now, while we are sure he won't do anything with it. We can even unlock one of our airports right now, giving us access to an extremely important unit for the endgame, fighters. Also, while you watch Eagle unable to do anything twice, let's finish on the subject of damage, as this info is difficult to find. In any game mode, retaliation damage always deals 0 luck, and can even do less than the minimum damage normally possible for each in-game HP value, because the in-memory HP has an impact, lowering the damage as it gets closer to the value representing the next in-game HP. Anyway, there you have it. Now even you can easily do rivals deathless. From there, like Mangs has shown in his video, you can just amass funds and build big units to make your stall even safer. Letting Eagle build new units first and reach the 50 units cap is probably a bit safer, but you can also expand your area as long as you are cautious. Either way, don't let your guard down, as there will be more bombers coming your way, as you can see, and rockets could become problematic too. Other than that, you saw that most of Eagle's forces are already around at that point, so it should be still quite manageable. Getting an APC on a property is also good to bait any bomber you didn't expect, or any unit really, if you ever open a gap in the clog of enemy units. Finally, never ever move your T-copter from its spot, unless you are ready to deal with the fighters moving around and leaving holes for other units to attack from. Also, there was normally something about RNG I wanted to explain, but with the amount of information there is to share, this could become its own video. Just know that in maps with locked luck like Rivals, RNG becomes a lot easier to control and abuse. Now, all of this footage you just saw only proves that this might be possible, but we haven't looked yet at what has been actually accomplished. Well, seeing the word impossible when reading Ming's update on Deathless Rivals, I couldn't just let an impossible challenge slide. I had to actually beat it. By then, I already knew baiting the fighters would be the solution. It felt too good to not use these units as blockers. What I didn't know yet was how I would best tackle this challenge. My first idea was to try something different than Ming's and go for the stall on the upper island since it was small and with well-placed cities. I tried different combination of units, having a fighter or an artillery in to help. I even went for a missile, but with only 4 movements, it was one tide short to get in there without creating issues. I would have continued with that strategy if the missile could have made it more easily, as it would have helped with one issue that Strat had. Getting the T-copter out was extremely complicated. I'm not saying using this island is impossible, but after around an hour of testing, it felt slow and a bit convoluted for what it was giving in return. And for those who already know me by now, you are aware of my speedrunning tendencies, so a really slow solution didn't fit well with me. Thus, the area around the HQ was now my next best option, and I just rolled with it. By playing almost casually, while using a strat somewhat similar to the one you have been seeing earlier, after only 3 attempts, I was able to get a day 19 victory. Not bad, right? Nope, not enough. Let's get faster. And faster I got. Down to day 14. With a strat I'm quite proud of, baiting a fighter in with the T-copter to get out as early as possible. Day 13 was real close, but was asking me to try too many RNG rolls, and it was getting tiring. So I decided to take a break and just play around, have fun testing a dumb ID. What if I just send an APC directly? Surely it won't work, right? Well, with a tank and an anti-air blocking both paths right away, no chance. Something I was already expecting, but you never know. Sometimes making sure is better than not. And while I'm at it, let's just do the same with the T-copter instead, to be completely sure, since we can't get any faster than going straight for the HQ at that point after all. No way it can survive all the air units around, but let's see how close it would have been. With the right RNG, we can escape the fires, which is good, but we won't survive the anti-air or even another attack from the tank next time. It's just doomed. Wait. It can survive that? Wait, no way. I can just... Well, by now you already know? Yes, I can just evade everything from there and go straight for the HQ. That was basically how this whole thing unfolded that day. I just tested a dumb ID that shouldn't have worked and didn't stop until I was sure. And to my surprise, it worked. Because even after surviving that tank, we were not safe yet. There are 2 copters, which each needs to get a specific AI behavior or build placement if we want to be able to pass around them. Same with an anti-air at some point. And the rest is just to help with stalling the enemy units without a death, since we can easily put in guard mode any unit deployed around the enemy's HQ once our infantry has been dropped. In the end, this gives you a deathless Day 9 victory on Rivals. Not something you would expect at first from such a mission. Now, that could have been the end of the story. It should have been. But once I was done with the Day 9 victory, I just got curious and looked into some non-deathless attempts for fun, to see what others had found, expecting maybe even some crazy Day 7 strat, as it is the theoretical limit for that mission. I was a bit surprised to see just a few item counts on YouTube instead, and the best attempt ever done being a Day 12 on some GameFAQs posts. Indeed, you heard that right. Looks like this is a new record, and it's probably there to stay. Day 7 is 100% not possible without some new glitch, since there are way too many units in the way, and Day 9 would still be the glitchless record then. On the other hand, Day 8 had some hope at first, but almost certainly needs some new glitch too. We are just one tile away from making it, and every solution to get that needed tile of movement ends up with something barely preventing it. Well, at least that's what I was supposed to say when writing this script, but nah, just shocking at that point. These little fake outs are fun, leaving you on the edge of your seat. Or am I? Okay, I'm done. Anyway, with Day 9 being a bit important outside of this Deathless challenge itself, I've decided to post on the side the full run as a separate non-commentated video that you can access if you are curious by clicking the upper right corner of your screen right now, checking in the description or at the end of this video. In the end, this video became much more than I was planning for at first. I look forward to see you guys' reactions in the comments and also read any idea you might be interested in seeing. And with that, I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone!